Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gupta series, in which, well, it was an end of an old era and a beginning of a new, as things go. That's a fact of life. Now we have a new Maharaja of the Gupta Kingdom, in which he has been recently coordinated, crowned, and recognized as ruler in front of the gathered vassals in a few neighboring countries, even though he's only been ruling for a couple of months now. But however, this was due to the abdication of my father, Rajkumar Rajaganesha the Champion, who have really contributed a lot to the Gupta Kingdom. Again, Rajaganesha was the son of my grandfather, Ramagupta the Wise, who originally Ramagupta was just a Rajkumar living in Tirubukti region, where originally he just wanted to live the rest of his life as a Hindu ascetic and even renounced the world and lived over there in this area of Kumara Mandala. That's where he was to reside. And then Rajaganesha, originally a Hindu, as he had a claim to Bihar as well. But however, he wanted his father to come back to court, and then as he built up his military forces to fight against the Pala dynasty in order to take back Bihar, and he successfully did. And even the vassals that were part of Bihar joined as he put his father on the throne, in which Ramagupta expanded it to the lands of Chedi Raj over to the southwest. And then Ramagupta, as you know about him, he lived up to the age of 83. Could have possibly lived slightly longer, but the stress got the best of him because he spent most of his reign hiding somewhere in Magadh due to the raging wars between the Guptas and the Palas. And now there's Rajkumar Rajaganesha the Champion, which he later became the Maharaja after his father's passing. But things in life for him were not faring well for Rajaganesha, because he was convinced that he may have been cursed by his patron deity Vishnu, or even possibly his father's god, Ganesha, whom Rajaganesha was named after, where the reason why his children didn't live long, or didn't, one was killed in Rappel, that was a different case, but one died a sickly infant at 3. But then, up until, this point, around the late, it was around between 818 and 819 that Rajaganesha, after fighting a destructive conflict with the Ayodhya dynasty, which no longer exists as kingdoms are split between the two new dynasties that rose, where Rajaganesha converted from Hinduism to Jainism. To be in particular, he is of the Svatambara sect of Jainism. Hence the reason why he is dressed like this. As you see that he wears white and all that. Even on the side he's got a brush that's, I believe it's made from peacock feathers or some other feathers, which he uses that where every step that he makes, he must, gently brush the ground to brush away insects, to make sure he doesn't accidentally step on them, to not, violate ahimsa, which is non-violence. So now he has since abdicated, and he is currently the leader of the Sravaka-Samgha as Acharya. De facto leader, and the only Acharya for now. At 73. In which he now currently is the legal tutor of Jharkhand, and he's even heir to the monastery because of his reputation. Which means, if need be, even though he lives a pretty healthy lifestyle himself, if necessary, he could potentially pass away, and then Rajaganesha could live the rest of his life not just as a ascetic living in peace there, but he could run the whole monastery there for the rest of his life. Would that be great if that were to happen? Because, again, the reason why Rajaganesha became Jain is due to an influence of his old friend, the former Nigranta, by the name of Govinda Chandra. Yes, Govinda Chandra the Sad, whom he was later slain in personal combat. And it came to this, and to this one, and then came Raphael, who was originally Greek, but became of Bengali culture because that was the dominant culture, and so he wasn't able to import Greek culture. But a few Greeks remained. Yes, a few of them remained around here. And now because of Rajaganesha's very high prestige, because of who he was, and that's the reason why he's the heir, because in a theocracy, it's open elective. And so, as we know that in his health, it's 0.50 plus 0.50, so that's plus 1 for him. He's been in many duels because, I mean, yes, he was a bit of a killer back in his Hindu days. Yes, he made a peace deal with China, which is now expired, which we're going to have to make peace with them again. And his love for cinnamon, even though he's not supposed to have cinnamon anymore if he is living a lifestyle as a Jain Muni, because he's part of the clergy now. He's a monk. Because you know where cinnamon comes from, right? And Jains are not supposed to use them themselves. At least that's from what I've read. So, I'm sure his healthiness in life will keep him around. Maybe live long enough to, to see him go from from Rajkumar to Maharaja to Muni to Nigranta. That would be an amazing way for the life of this man, for the way it went. I mean, he didn't go to some other Jain country, which, if he wanted to, he could have lived in Gujarat and spent the rest of his life there. But no, he decides to make a residence in Rajrappa, in the Monastery of Rajrappa to be exact, which, even though he would also his contributions to the Gupta Kingdom as Maharaja for Rajaganesh was to end corruption in most areas of Bihar. Even though there is a bit of corruption around here, as it's restless and all this, and a small migration here, because of his inability to, get to work on it. Well, what I would like to see him is for him to either, I mean, he's not a member of the Sravaka-Samgha, so he can't really, step down. Even though he is my Acharya of the Gupta Kingdom. And if I wanted it to, I could invite him back right in, but I think the father would probably make one of his promises that says, don't make me come back to Magadh, because it's time for the young generation to rule. He is of the old era. Let the old pass on and let the new flourish. That's what he would want for his sons. But interestingly, I could still invite him to carousing despite the fact he's in a different court right now. But at least for now. I mean, but still, he's a very good fighter because of who he was, and he was a legendary commander and all that, and he has champion blood as he is the founder of this bloodline of champion blood because he was grand champion, an undefeated grand champion, and he retired undefeated to become a Jain Muni, which is a way of going out with things, but still, I applaud him for that. And again, he founded that champion bloodline 8 years before he converted to Jainism. And thus it lives on through all of his children, and children's children too in future. So, I wish you a long life, Rajaganesha, and I hope you would live the rest of your life not just a Muni who wanders around Jharkhand, but as a Nigrantha. I think that's what he would probably wanted as Jain because of his old friend that has since passed, Govinda Chandra, was Nigrantha, and these two were running buddies since his youth, even during the days prior to the restoration of the Gupta Kingdom, where they were just good, almost drinking buddies. And even though Govinda Chandra, to be fair, before we finally get on with what's going on here, before we even get into that, keep in mind it was that lustful trait from Govinda Chandra is what kind of made, Rajaganesha be lustful for a portion of his younger years. You could say it's like, yes, he influenced him to become a Jain later in life, but he was also a bit of a bad influence. But Govinda Chandra never joined the Sravaka-Samgha. He was more interested in being in a wheel of life or death, like he was. Although they never faced each other in a duel, as far as competition's concerned. But at least he found the error of his ways and be the leader of the Sravaka-Samgha. Which, by the way, as I keep referring to it, what does that mean exactly for those that don't remember? The Sravaka-Samgha means community of the pious. And so there you have it. And do not forget, despite all the things that he has in Apprentice Board Gamer and that, he's still got a large smuggler operation, so he's got his own source of wealth. And he's going to get plenty of it. But, you know what that also means, right? That means if he wanted to, he could still give it away to charity. He's supposed to live a life as a beggar, but I think that money will be put to some use when he becomes the Nigrantha once the old guy passes, because his lifestyle isn't healthy as Rajaganesha. That's all I gotta say. Just chuckle, chuckle, chuckle. Let's get down to business. Who shall be my designated regent in case I were to do something for myself? I mean, it could be anybody at this point. But if I'm talking well-rounded, it would be Nasing, my philosophical tutor. Even though I don't need to be tutored because I'm already graduated from Negoziation, the Chinese Academy. I have very little traits as far as personality traits is concerned, and also been depressed for a while, but I'm looking to get rid of it as I've invited some people to come carousing with me. I'll try to get over my depression. Well, that's what I'm going to be spending the next 3 years. And also to see the realm prosper. In other words, don't go to any wars at this time. It'll be much later before we plan on fighting against the Pala dynasty for the subjugation of the Kingdom of Bengal area. And because now we turn our attention towards the east, not the west. We got the west secure. I'm not concerned about all the other areas. Even though I can create the title of Kingdom of Gondwana, but that is a very small kingdom title area, and it's not a good idea to, to have titles created while you got Galwakind or Partition. And also, I thought about the possibility of empowering the council because, this idea of spouse empowerment. The one of those mods that I use as spouse empowerment, which you don't typically see what that does, because as it's minimum, which they play a very minor role, contribute only with a few words of advice here and there. But when I empower the council, which at least it'll make law changes of whatever I make reduce time from 10 years to 5. And unlocks additional council power laws if I wanted to go all for all of these. but also enables the advisor minor title, you know, another voter on a council of whatever acts that I want to do. And for spouse empowerment, which it would be, I mean, the current crown authority is medium. But one of these must be true. Enact empowered council, which I will have low spouse empowerment, which the ruler delegates some minor tasks to the spouse, hereby increase the efficiency which the realm can be managed. So rulers gain spouse's attribute. Focus of civic area, so 5% focus on everything. And of course, it increases each time, like if I were to empower the council, but also, you know, to increase it by from making low to medium. That I would also have the Law Diplomat Committee, titles and offices, along with the Diplomacy Committee, and then there's the max. So this may remind you of Crusader Kings 3, with how, you know, that the spouse is almost like a member of the council itself, but also helps you, you know, with a certain set of skills. And even though that I'm a shrewd ruler who can handle most everything except for stewardship, because I have a hard diet and I'm doing some intensive training, because, you know, the combat skill is rather low. Before, you know, I got the said, well, that was due to unequipped and equipped, you know, the stuff in order to get intensive training. And that's why I want to get over depression as soon as possible, because sometimes it could hurt. And in the event of my death, it'll be Maharishi, yeah. Which that man is not as good. And that is the reason why I am considering empowering the council. No longer absolute rule. It will be an aristocratic monarchy. And also give, you know, spouse empowerment, where whenever we have a queen around here, which I'm currently betrothed and I'm not expected to, well, she's going to turn 12. So in 2 years, once she turns 14, I'll be able to marry. And when her education is finished, and with an empowered spouse, she can help me on a few things. And plus, I don't control that much of a domain anyway, despite being a Jain. And plus, each time you give it to the council, that increases more vassal limit, even though we can hold a lot more than that, thanks to its laws. Even though it is not a centralized realm by any stretch of the imagination. But you get the idea, right? It's an understanding. And plus, I never really touched the obligation, so I may also have to look into that. Like when I look at the vassals, you see, none of them are paying taxes to me, despite the income. So that'll be for another change. Which again, I would rather empower now, instead of, it's like, hey, let's pass this law, and then you're gonna have to wait another 10 years to pass another. No. So that's one of the first acts. Empower the council. So yes, it's something new. And the advisor is best used to have a loyalist with you. And we found a loyalist already. A new Granta who is an imbecile. That's what we need. Dumb but loyal. And if you were to have an empire, particularly in the future when we form the Bengal Empire, then you'll have 2 advisors. 2 would-be loyalists. Yes, I already have feudal obligations. Heavy levy-oriented feudal, that's fine. It's clergy focus. There's been low obligations. focus is just money. Whereas this is balanced. But, you know, we kind of need low clergy obligations, which seems like a controversial move, despite the fact that I'm a Jain. But everybody is undecided, so I'll just give it time. Well, what say of an empowered spouse idea? Again, just give them time. Which I believe it would be for the best, too, you know. That's the reason why I've invited my parents and my brothers to carousing. So, we hope you understand why am I why did I make a change from a, you know, absolute kingdom to a despotic kingdom. Yeah, father's not coming, but the mother is. And this is my spy master, all good. And he ain't coming either. Well, hope you all understand. Rajrappa is now the siege leader. Have to make you a commander in future. Oh yeah, the man who's clinically insane, stressed, depressed, lunatic. He's gone silence. Taking a vow of silence, huh? We'll blackmail him. To make sure he doesn't plot against me. Even though he can write, but he can't speak. That's for certain. Oh no, I overslept and was late to this morning's meeting with my advisors. Why didn't the servants wake me on time? Get into so much trouble. What privileges? Did I really give them privileges? Apparently I did. I'm gonna revoke these privileges out of him. Raja Kadag is second of the Kamanchal Raj. Privileges are way too much. Should attempt to revoke him. As I said, I shouldn't give privileges to anybody. We're all equals here. Even though he's a Hindu and insane. I can only attempt this once every amount of years depending on my learning skill is what it meant. I shouldn't do arbitrary because, you know, that's the opposite of just. I'll use my capacity and diplomacy to revoke his privileges, so I'll attempt a peaceful way of successfully revoking my vassal's privilege. Chance of success depends on my diplomatic and learning skills, as well as traits. There's also a chance of vassal knowing my intentions beforehand and just declaring independence if he feels it's necessary. If I succeed and imprison him, I will be able to freely revoke his privileges. So, there's a pretty good chance that his privileges will be removed, but however, there's another chance where it won't do as such, so we shall hear it in just a moment. Well, I'll try to sway him. My guests have arrived for a private feast I arranged. It's time to let the carousing and merriment begin. Let's get started. Dandi Mahadevi recently arrived in Magad, has formally presented herself at court. My lord, I am on a campaign to take my rightful titles within the Kalinga Ganga Raj from Rani Vasumati. With your blessing, I wish to raise support here in the Gupta Kingdom for my growing army. Lady host. She may recruit in the Gupta Kingdom, but I'm not willing to spend my money. I don't want to break the vow of seeing the realm prosper. It's not time yet. It was good meeting a new friend. Thakur Vijay Sen is feasting and raving like a lunatic. I can hardly stand up. I'm laughing so hard. I must invite him more often. Oh yes, he's a lunatic. Forgot about that. And he exterminated innocent migrants. He's done nothing wrong. No, they did nothing wrong, the migrants. Well, that man, clearly he did. The reveling carousing is over for now. Time to get back to real life. Well, it was fun. Still didn't get rid of the press. We'll try again in December. Also, he did not have these privileges removed. So that man is try to revoke. Well, that means I'm gonna have to try again some other time. Unless he passes. No kids slaying around here. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to start swaying you. Get on our side. Now I have to admit, one of my courtiers is reasonably well endowed in a way that pleases my eyes. What the heck? Oh dear. Why am I having such thoughts? Am I really that depressed? Having eye candy for my elder sister? Plus, that's only for about a year, and I'm not betrothed, so... But such fleeting thoughts are meaningless. It's just like, yes, my sister is pretty and all that, and she's got a cat too, but I don't want to be thinking of unchaste thoughts. I'm not into that sort of thing. And plus, she's a Hindu, I'm a Jain. Much difference between us. Also, I have the crowd focus here because we're trying to get rid of this volatile province here in Magad because it could spell danger to the realm. Why aren't you collecting taxes? Just remembered. Guess I'm gonna get you two again. And why not sister too, but your mother can come since father is busy with his good work of the Sravaka-Samgha. I mean, look, I'm not a military man by any stretch of imagination based on the martial skill, even though it's very good, but, you know, I'm more of a diplomatic man myself. But my weakest point is stewardship. And I have not picked up much more traits, and not really good intrigue. Again, most of that's due to intensive training that I'm trying to have to improve my combat skills before, you know, we go to war eventually with Apollo. That's the reason why we are seeing the realm prosper, to live in peace for a couple more years. You see, here's an example. Over there in the Byzantine Empire, I believe, well, despite the imperial decay, I mean, sometimes, the Byzantine Empire would, you know, would have an assistance from their spouse, because they kind of start off with a bit of, not with absolute, but I guess it's absolute there. I gotta look for some other kingdom that does that with the spouse empowerment. I don't know about them, that they're the ones that do that. I'm trying to show you an example. Oh, what about West Francia? I mean, to be fair, most areas tended to be... so, heck, even Poland has gotten big recently. But since they're a tribal power and not a... and not a feudal, which is what applies to there. So I guess this is probably a wrong place to look. I mean, it's around here somewhere, but most of them are just absolute governments and not aristocratic or despotic. Yes, even Zoroastrians are free, but how long are they going to last? The Abbasids have really broken down because Egypt revolted. Or Sultanate of Arabia, excuse me. Sultanate of Yemen, Egypt, Arabia. Oh boy, they've really grown themselves. Tiny little Abyssinia. Yeah, it's been a while since we took a look at around the world before we continue on this series. While I was just trying to look for examples. Samarkand is even a free country, but it's tribal, interestingly enough. Why tribal? Don't they have... Yes, they have all these buildings, but... Probably started with a peasant ruler, and it was for some reason tribal government. I guess they were under rule of nomads before they overthrew them. Man's not married. So, anyways, I guess there's no other kingdoms that does that are increased council power, even though it's kind of hard to in the HIP mod, because most of the factions tend to go for, you know, these kind, not for increased council power or whatnot. That's rarely occurs, so I want to make that an exception, so I would show you an example of that in the future. When I get married, and when we get to there. Yes, I'm inviting my sister, mother, yeah, just my sister and my mother. At least they respect me. As a pious Jain Muni. While training combat techniques, I suffered an important injury. The time taken to recover caused a setback in my training schedule. Unfortunately, I suffered an infection. Oh, that's not good. A combination of, you know, depressed and infection could lead to my early death. But I'm having a hard diet. I mean, I could potentially die if I don't get rid of depressed right now. Because I could survive depression, but you got until next August. Next year's August. What are you doing? Are you trying to steal an artifact? Yes, you were. Were you trying to steal this? Or that? Or even this? Now, butter, you got yourself into this. And since you're a ruler, I'm gonna give you some gold so you can ransom yourself out of here. Whoops. And plus, I'm about to die here. I don't know if that's a good idea, but I'll put him there. While I'm trying to sway this man. All the old men around me. Well, let's get it started, hopefully. Actually, there is a way to further increase my health. As a Jain, well, I'm gonna be a different kind of Jain, and Father won't probably like me for this. I am now a Dingambara Jain. It's a much healthier lifestyle living. They're the ones that go naked. Although I'm not, because I'm not a monk. So there's no need to lose the clothing. Now I'm best friends with my sister. So yeah, just a little increase to the health means a healthier lifestyle. And still have not gotten rid of depression. If I do die, well then we're doomed under the reign of him. Because he's gonna screw things up because of his lack of skills of both learning and diplomacy. It could lead to a premature end. To himself, and possibly to the whole kingdom. In fact, contingency plan. You need to get married matrilineally. Oh, I know just a man. I already see him. Strong and attractive. Here you go. So you can have a little bit of children yourself. That's just in case if there's a bit of a brother's quarrel. In case I die because of the infection. And a few other things. There goes that steward too. Loyalist, here you go. So yes, this will do. Again, slow focus specific area, 20% focus, everything, 5% for now. Hey, how was your time in prison? Ignored locals during emergency? You were in prison, Vajramitra. You were in prison because you were just trying to steal an artifact which you failed. Despite the fact you could have been good, but how'd you screw that up? And again, we're all dim-witted. Grant you privileges? No. Whoops. I mean, I did see the chances, but... You see what I mean by brother's quarrel? You dare to refuse me? I think not. I'm stronger than you, and I believe your liege child has been forfeited. This means war. You have chosen death. Very well, so be it. Yeah, we're both Jains, but only one of us must have the throne. This is an independence war. If we lose, he becomes an independent state. Yes, this much while we will bring this much, but unfortunately, there goes all of this. Well, I'd look to increase the size of the domain. We're definitely going to revoke your titles for this because you asked for privileges. And I'm not willing to give privileges to anyone because I am not that weak-willed. What would Father say about this if he hears the news of this right now? He's no longer the heir to this area. Actually, he still is. He's the heir to both the monasteries. It's just to him what he is, you know. Dreamt of an endless dungeon. And I don't know if it's a good idea that I should be leading out the combat. I mean, while I'm in training, but he's frail, we both have champion blood. What happens if I die? If there's anything about that. If I die during this war, I guess it'll continue on regardless, but it'll be Maharishi that will be in charge. But even though he's a better fighter than I am, as he's an aspiring duelist, and he bought cheap discounted merchandise? You don't want the very best. You want cheap. And I got cheap. I know that reference. I know what that is. I know what that reference is. I even did a video on that on my YouTube channel, you know. It involves a man named Edgar Vautrine who runs discount spells. Man. Again, this is part of the Viet Events Reborn. Sometimes it has references to the Elder Scrolls. And you know my love with the Elder Scrolls just as much as I love Indian culture. And yes, I'll be willing to lead my troops in the battle. Because, Father, oh my good... By Mahavira. Wait. Who's engaging who? They'll be arriving on September 11th. The army will arrive here on the 22nd. Oh, they are 43 to stand. Never mind. As you were. We'll be out of here in time before the army of my brother will get here. Improved institution of low spouse empowerment law. And you see, every 4 years, not 5. Okay. Yes, it's every 4, not 5. Yes. So I'll be willing to add this, and then I would like to make a medium spouse empowerment. You know, gotta be fully everything. Just lend a hand much more effective. So just a few minor tasks. So that way, when my Pichwa comes to the kingdom, she expects absolute. And it's like, no, because we need to assist each other. We need to work together. You can't just be a queen consort. You could be more than just a queen consort. Peasant revolt in Munda. So, will Jharkhand take care of that? We don't know. But we'll give my brother time while we will continue to assemble the forces together into one army, then we will face him en masse. Again, you asked for privileges, and that's too much. You've also burnt somebody in a stake. For what? Because of the fact that she was ugly? She was a kind woman. What kind of a man are you? People! More forces will be on their way soon. Just give it time. Just 103 remain. What the? Of Arjuna and Akirata, a book. Tell the anklet. Luna Varmin's broken weapon. That wasn't you, Father. Oh no. These artifacts, the characters died. Vasudev Tamara, my cousin, was just slain. Personal combat. Unlucky. We'll find you another. But thanks for the artifacts. These are just all books and a broken weapon that I don't particularly need. I'll probably give it to my father, you know. He still has his own broken weapons collection. Unfortunately, Bhagavati, the people that you can naturally marry are all a bunch of old men. And some of which are bad traits. Well, which one is the least? Well, we could try him. He's strong. Hey. I didn't... apparently, you know, he had a bounty on his head. Actually, no. Because it does not say that he's a member of the Wheel of Life and Death. That's the reason why he's killed. Didn't take his broken weapon. That's another piece of evidence. So, might have been a personal issue. And yet all these bruises indicates that this... I think he was the member of the Wheel of Life and Death when we brought him here. So he went bounty hunting. So there's a bounty on this man's head. And he prevailed. He lives. Ah, I get it. Unlucky cousin, who I didn't know was my cousin to begin with. Again, strong man who is a bit greedy himself. Alright, the army's assembled. We got to get in there before they ruin everything in there. I shall lead from the center. Rajendranarayan and Ganzal, who's been teaching a lot of us, but fortunately we have Way of the Tiger. We can get there fast before they put a stop to it, even though we'll take a river crossing penalty and fighting in a forest, which will have a good defense, but I need to confront my brother. If I face him in the door, I'll try to wound him. Don't kill him, because that's kinslaying. But if he surrenders, well, good. Because we want to cause minimum property damage for all the things that father worked so hard to build during his time as Maharaja. Let's get there fast. They may take the place. They besieged us. We didn't capture him. But don't reoccupy the area because it may cause building damage, otherwise we could be rebuilding these buildings again. Wherever they retreat to, we'll go in after. Although he has no... Fortunately, it never really invested in Jaunpur. So that one has a weak defense, so we'll go and take that area as well. You know, a lot of countries could take advantage of this civil war, that's what it is potentially. My training in personal combat is causing a positive impact on my health. I'm feeling much better since I started the training. My effects are felt and impressive. Well, I think I might live through this infection and depression and all that. Nigrantha Rajaganesha, the champion is inherited Monastery of Jharkhand, and the other titles from Nigrantha Raphael. Amazing. And this must be an auspicious day. Yeah, a very auspicious day. But Father, I am very sorry that it's well, you know, because since he's in your granted, that means he's no longer a Jain Muni. Because I'm sure, you know, ever since he's renounced the world, and now he has to take up this position, and now he's part of the politics again, but at least as a theocratic vassal. And he hears this news about this civil war between the brothers. And I'm sure he would be very disappointed in both of us. In fact, a better question is, what does Father think of him now? Rajaganesha. Not much, just mostly positive. In fact, they're both poets, kind, same honesty. I mean, he respects his son, but title claimant, which is understandable because of who he was. So all I could say to you is, hey, another loyalist in the court. Actually, not quite. Your ambition is to pledge peace, and you will have that peace. wish you were a loyalist, but you are a zealot. And also, you become a bit weary these days. You're no longer craven. Oh no, you're thinking of Ramagupta. So Ayushma Papa. Enemy died. War has ended. What happened? Oh, the stress got to him. And even though he wasn't sick, but he was frail. And stress, despite the fact he was trained to be Caesar. Maybe he couldn't take the stress that he died. Now we gotta go take care of that peasant revolt. Well, one thing's certain. We fought a battle here, and we didn't lose too much in the way of forces with minimum property damage, so that was a short war. And yes, we need the money. So we are married now. But she's not fully grown up yet. So now Maharishi has inherited these lands, giving him more power. In case I ever die, he's gonna rule all of this. But I kinda want to live because I'm pretty important as far as living in peace is concerned. He attempted to imprison, which he did. What has he done? What crime did he commit? Do tell, Father. What crime did he commit? I'd like to know every move. Also, how'd you like to be the legal tutor? And since you are also into poetry, you will also be the court poet. And even though he knows military matters too because of his prior experience, but I don't think he needs to be teaching, you know, military or whatnot. And I don't plan on committing suicide. I mean, he's not a courtier, so he can't be a court tutor. We're gonna stop him. Oh, these bastards run off. Come on, you're the fastest around. You gotta move these big body of troops. Headed this way exactly. Of course, he's revoking more titles away from faithful Jains because he's a Hindu. And he's learning local lore. Low feudal obligations. We will catch him. Actually, that's not a her, that's a she. You'll be dreaming of something else, all right. Was she really the peasant lady? Yes. Called me an evil tyrant. Oh, I can't invite my wife yet to carousing. Now, will you come, Father, now that we found the time? Mother and Father, please? Nugget prospers again. So, it is now flourishing. Okay, parents aren't coming. How about you, How about you? And it seems you already have a daughter. Very well. Because it's so dark at night, while trying to get into bed, I accidentally knock some things over, waking up a few servants who scurry outside, wondering what the commotion's all about. Now everyone knows what a clumsy oaf I am. An awkward encounter in public for a couple of months. Now it's going to take a while to rebuild this army to full strength. Oh, come on, half-brother. How about you? You live an ascetic lifestyle. And apparently you've seen a flaming gap. Pillow talk. As we lie both awake in bed after a night of lovemaking, my Dehanagadevi. There you go. Dehanagadevi came close to my ear to whisper a request that caused a shiver on my spine. Out of thin air, she proposed to take the role of Balabat, my steward, and be part of the council. A deep, wet kiss, full of desire, finally underscores her appeal for a positive answer. But you're not fully educated yet, then why are you getting a martial education? But I can't deny that I want to have children this soon because I don't want the brothers to rule, either of those two. And I live a much different lifestyle compared to yours, whatever you're trying to be. But I married you because you are agile and strong, which one would think you should be a commander, but you cannot. But let's see, since I have a good diplomacy. I'm not good. Well, I am gregarious. Here's a chance. I am shrewd. Doubles it. But the negatives, I'm not any of those traits. And my spouse's intrigue education, which she lacks education at all. And, I didn't get a good look at her. Again, she's kind of young to be talking about this stuff. To be a member of the council. So I gotta make her change her mind. So perhaps we should discuss this now. Plus, I'm trying to get rid of depression. I want to do it before the infection overtakes me. Will anyone come to this feast? How about members of the council? The Jain ascetic, the marshal, the steward. Heck, I'll even take the cartographer. Anything. Can anybody come? Which reminds me. Yeah, not much resources here. This is why we need to start making a lot more money. Including the taxation. The seduction of the Dehanagadevi. Over many nights, patiently with kindness, care, and empathy, and never falling prey to the basic carnal desires of themselves. I was able to impart my Dehanagadevi the notion that a council position was indeed below her station. Seduced by my personality and confident by my lovemaking, she accepted her position at the court and laid the matter to rest. Oh, I don't need to do that, huh? Master seducer, I mean. Oh, my intrigue is a bit weak, but then again, a part of that's due to infection and my intensive training, so. Just say a virtuous display of seduction. You need some of that purity. You already have enough purity to do subjugation wall. Or something else for that matter. At least somebody will come. I forgot, is it the Jains or the Hindus that do subjugation wars? I mean, Buddhists can do that too, but... One day during leisurely afternoon, one of my courtiers offered to spend the time to teach me a particular subject matter. What do I want to learn? Well, Father, since you are an old friend of mine, even prior to the infection, my least skilled was stewardship. So, and whereas you know how to do this, teach me about management. Because I have a character with a tutor trait, and at least 50 opinion of me. To improve my relevant stat. I am shrewd, but I'm not a genius, nor quick, nor bright. But am I dim? I forgot the unknown sources. Yes, the unknown sources, because if you recall, it's dim. So I don't know about this, but I don't have any of those traits at all. So just at least give it an attempt, even though that lowers your skills even further. And I'm apparently I'm giving her the rest of this education, even though I wish I could change that. But it would be a bad idea to make her hate me, otherwise we wouldn't have much in the way of children. I'll just say, Beithro, make others count on you. She become diligent. Sorry. Tutor, gave this man diligent. Again, this is due to my father's good work. Great. Cartographer. A useless council position, as far as voting matters is concerned. The reveling carousing is over. Now it's time to get back to the real life. I will not pick up either of these two traits, because father was a socializer. That's who he wanted to be, but I have a different idea of what kind of lifestyle I want to lead. But still have failed to get rid of the depressed. I might die. She became just. And it's gonna be this half-wit. And I can't stop him from potentially assassinating my brother. Oh, actually I could. Okay, thank you, because nobody wants kinslayers around here. I could stop the plot, so how close is he? Not even close. We can end that plot now. I like how I called my half-brother a half-wit. No signs of subjugation. Word has reached me that Vishwan has begun a campaign to take the Raj of Magadh, a title that he claims rightfully belongs to him. Through force of arms, he's begun touring the lands, trying to raise corn and hire mercenaries to drum support of his cause. Whether he could succeed remains to be seen. Oh dear, I hope he's not prone to accidents. I've been targeted for invasion. Didn't I see your name earlier? Or you're thinking of a different person? No, you were thinking of him. This is this man, which he is residing in Magadh. A giant of a man who's got a calm voice. A big man with a little voice. He's also a fat as doctor of law. Ambitious, Tyrian, big eater. So a big fat giant with a calm voice, because it's naturally soothing. While neither power nor melodies, its mildness can calm even the angriest of people, and slightly persuade even the most skeptical of men. Where did you get that claim? Who were your parents? Because they had nothing to do with Mugget. They hail from over there. This invasion will begin in 3 years. Well, at least I know what to do. After I had a meal at my court, Jain offered me some caraway recently, but chewing on the caraway seeds would help me freshen our breath after dinner. I'll do anything for health. Let me see. I do need to do that, but that's... Yes, for me, so obviously thanks, that's very considerate of you. Caraway breath freshener. Increases a little bit of sex appeal, in general opinion. Despite the fact that I pushed you too hard. And my half-brothers persecuting Jains. My wife's become chaste, which isn't surprising. Most women are around here, in these parts. And a man that had privileges finally passed. See if I could try to revoke it. Oh, it still counts even after a successor. News regarding Vishwasingha. His campaign recently brought him to the Gahirwar Kingdom. Next door. While Maharaja Rajappa did not offer personal support, he did allow to look for recruits in the countryside. We'll see how far this goes. You aided him against me, neighbor. Even though you are stronger than us. But we fear worse. And plus, I'm still in the middle of intensive weapons training. Fortunately, they just got themselves involved in a conflict against Raja Sistan. Oh good, they're going to be busy fighting off in some faraway conflict against the others. There's a release in prison. He continues to seek support in order to raise the army against me. His campaign is most recently brought him to the Kalachari Raj. Kalachari? That's... No, that's Kumanchal. That's Chari Raj. He's up there. How dare he? He's declared full support. We're gonna need friends. Probably Nepal. They're kind of neutral. As far as opinion's concerned, that's considered neutral. You could make an effective spy master. Even though I kind of don't want him. But it'd be rather a disdain. And that everybody be, you know, for that. But I'll use my powers of persuasion to sway him, because I'm a man of diplomacy. Alright, here you go. You're the new spy master. Brother ain't gonna like it. But I might need him for something else. And you know what? Train the troops, because we know there's a possible invasion, so we need every man available. Now he's gone further to Sravasti. Isn't that, look, they could look at another neighboring area. Anybody who aids this potential invader is my enemy. Appalling intrigue no longer affects them. My training is paying off and I mastered a new level of combat skill. With enthusiasm, I look forward to what comes next. Remarkable. Improved physical endurance. He's gone to my cousin in Gug. I think he's almost ready. Because he's been to almost every other area. He hasn't gone to here yet. Unfortunately, after spending my last year browsing old texts, I was not able to improve my knowledge. You've become paranoid, Ed. What's wrong, Father? Lack of good sleep. You need to sleep. Stop staying up late all night for doing who knows what. You know what? Since there's a potential invasion going on, if you got a few years left in you... Oh, you're already a commander of Bihar. Good. Because I might need you. Because your military acumen is without equal. Since you had a military background yourself. Yep, I knew he went over there. A revoke war. Well, be careful, Father, because he's got nothing. Okay, never mind. You got this. Although I could potentially say, hey, this may be doing my father a favor. Surrender to Jharkhand. Right now. I would not bother you with such petty assignments if you were going to be asked on the council. You know, you could be good at other things potentially, but we gave you privileges, so... In fact, that's the next person I should be swaying. Huh? To the learned Maharaja. Though I stand much to lose, I'm willing to surrender in return for a large sum of money. Oh, great. How much? Oh, 30 gold? Okay. You got it, so... Father, you got yourself some land. It's not much, but it'll do. Despite the ongoing religious... yes. In fact, I think you're the one. That's what caused religious tension. He was spreading Jainism in the Jharkhand region. I get it. Well, okay, we'll pay you 30 gold. So there you go. More land to you. So, no in favor, but... Listen, you got a large amount of wealth. And you liked me well enough. Broken the peace pledge. And please, Father, get some sleep. Because you might be needed in the future, so... Might repay that favor from you. Because, you know, I'd spent 30 gold and I liked some money from you. Plus, you got your own source of wealth. You got yourself covered. You don't need to live a life of a beggar anymore. You're not a Muni. Thank you for financial help. May the Tirthanankaras bless you a long life. May you live up to 100. My mother's come to see. My son, I'm worried your Chancellor Singh doesn't seem to have the best interests in mind when executed Tasker's office. I fear he may become a danger to rule in the long run. What are you talking about? He's been good to me. He's a philosophical tutor. He's kind of like my father in a way. I mean, ever since he divorced you, I mean, he had reasons. This may sound like a stupid idea. Like, this is just a way of saying, Mother, I need you to get out of here because you contribute next to nothing here. I don't know if they'll allow that. No. I'm talking about Mother here and him. Okay, you can't do that with him. Okay. Because he can't get married because he's a theocratic vassal. And theocratic vassals are not allowed to get married. I know it doesn't say that here, but you get the idea. Again, here's the reason. Because he's celibate, that's why. He chose to live this lifestyle, and now Originally, he was going to retire from the world, and now he's back in politics, but as a theocratic vassal of mine, as he resides in a monastery. And with the heir, that means he also gets this too. So I'll just say, no, I will not get rid of it. You need to calm down. My cook asked me whether I prefer hard-boiled eggs or soft-boiled eggs. Oh, since I don't have enough traits, so I want to abstain from eggs for a while. But keep in mind, I'm still depressed and still have an infection. There's still a possibility. Anyways, let's get to crossing. Cannot believe the stress got the best of him. How about you, sister? And, you know, maybe that guy as well, but he's commander of Jharkhand. Wait a minute. What are you doing in Rajrappa, sister? You're a Hindu. I mean, unless you're visiting father, but I didn't know you decided to take residence there. And that means children, you know, live in Rajrappa. What's that court like over there? For a few Hindus, a few Greeks, and Bengali. Strange. And he just turned 77. Happy birthday, father. Not gonna happen. Don't need to be thinking of that ambition. Just focus on running that monastery and take care of my sister, alright? In fact, if you don't mind, since you're my friend, oh, I can't tell her to demand a conversion to Jainism. Only he can do that, if he wanted it to. Well, at least my sister's coming. You need to tell him to stop getting privileged. That reminds me. Improve relations with Nepal. Potential ally when the invader comes to Magadh, the heart of India. He's gone further south to the lands of Alkarpur. He's getting more and more support from all other areas. That's what the Yadavas are doing. I'm come to a great monastery, renowned in all my realm for its dedication to learning. The head monk tells me that I may acquire one of the many books for a price. He also hints that a larger donation will lead to more books in the future. I have all the study books, but a few more wouldn't hurt. Oh, okay, I'll just go with one. Maharaja of Malwa, he's gone over there now. Yeah, the Acharya is a classic Tamil poetic work. Its poems deal with love and separation, where each poem is a speech of a hero or lady. Maharishi decided to subjugate Nepal for us. You are a half-wit, half-brother. You know that? I was trying to improve relations with them, but now you ruined that opportunity. They're busy off on one. We may look to a traditional ally. Forget about the privilege. Maybe he's the one that can help us out. I can get an opinion on him. I cannot send a gift. Oh, actually I can, because I was expecting a lot more pricey, but this is fine too. Good. And let's talk non-aggression pact. Because I am just. And I have a diplomatic education and diplomacy stat. This could work out for us. Because we need help. Because an adventure is coming in 2 years' time. Just keep trying to get rid of depression. I would hate to live that in my conscience. Gone to the Chauhan Raj, to Rajputana, Rajasthani lands. Natural death, right? Yeah, figured. Now here's your chance. We'll play for money. I'll get you next time. She's an apprentice gamer. If she chooses to be a game master in her life. Also good. More family members coming. Not to mention that child of yours is going to be born in Rajrappa. We shall hear a reply from him soon. Now Sarika gone further soon. After sitting down with the delegation led by Raja Rajrappa Raja of the Maharaja Raj, it was a relief that I found plenty of common ground with the other side. We were both eager to sign a non-aggression pact. Security above everything else. I was about to say, why is your... Oh, a different man. Oh. Not good. Guess you gotta be careful who you pick and choose these days. But he's still gonna be living healthier as long as he, you know, lives up to 100 or something. I don't know. Even Brahmins once lived 200 years. So says the legends. Nobody's discrediting nobody around here. Look, it's nice to know that you got a martial education, but it's going to be switched over. And it's good to know that you are a good person. Should also be charitable, but remember, her education is going to change from martial to any minute now. Will it be intrigue, stewardship, diplomacy, or learning? Because women cannot have a martial education unless we have a full status of women's law around here. She's gone for intrigue. That's fine. Or for the combat skills. Now, please help me. Because spouse empowerment. And please help me get rid of my depression. I beg of you. Oh, there it is. It's part of the decision. Empowered spouse. Here it is. It doesn't show it here, but it does show it in my council, so... There it is. This is how it works. A realm can hardly function at its without strong contribution from the ruler's spouse. From the ruler's spouse. I could delegate some of the tasks of the rulership of my wife, thereby allowing me more time to focus on other tasks. I believe she'll do best to focus on... It would have to be stewardship. Oh, I can actually gain them. Okay. Management of land and coffers. So spouse support. This character's wife is supporting him in rulership. So, there it is. See? That's what this is for. That's the reason why I changed the council law to empower them. Because I need my spouse to help me on matters. Knowing that I am busy trying to get rid of depression, and I have an infection, and having intensive training, which could potentially kill me. And keep saving up money. You might need mercenaries in the future. Last year. The cook has prepared a fine meal, but the priest preached about temperance. I will satisfy my hunger with bread and water, and still have not become temperate. Modifier just expired. Would you like to go carousing with me? Really? Brothers are busy. Would you like to come, Father? Will you finally change your mind? And can you please at least live up to 80? Because we might need you as commander one more time. Okay, good. Oh, he's gone into hiding. Can't invite him. How about you? I need a second person, you know, just in case. Nirgranta Govindachandra of Rajagriha claims they would be a better. Is that so? He's not as well learned as he used to be. Since I made it about the Gupta Kingdom. But I'll just say, do not bring such petitions before me ever again, you lecher. Can't confirm or deny that he is one. I will send yet another envoy to his realm, which reminds me. It's a great success. So come back. We'll ask him again in a few months. Don't spend any money on anything. You might need mercenaries for this potential invasion, because we don't know how many forces are bringing it exactly. And I'm still infected. Gone to the Abdava. Still looking for recruits of wherever country he travels to. Confound it. And we don't have time to, you know, revoke privileges, so let's give it a try. No, not ready yet. Also, clearly you are failing in your campaign. Even brought some help from further away. Spend time with Father. Advisor. Needed a loyalist. The cartographer. It's not 8:49 yet. Aesop's Fables. I know that one. I mean, my father's already my friend, but so can this man be. Gone to yet another Rajput land, which interestingly, he's my father-in-law. Tomara. Ah. Well. But, how dare you? I guess that other decision is just to stop notifications. Still haven't never got rid of depression. Maybe I need another lifestyle. There are other ways to get rid of depression too, you know. Yeah. I think we basically got the point here, so I gotta shut up for a minute. We know what he's up to. He's just going country to country throughout the Indian subcontinent to look for recruits. In fact, there might be time for one more private feast. One last chance to get rid of depressed. So this June. But if I die, my half-wit, half-brother is going to rule the Gupta Kingdom. And we would be doomed. What are we just on alliance right now? So I'll be using this. But I'll just say I must reassure him. Or if it overrides it. That's a fact. Can it? Will it? He lost the Tell the Anklet book. He kept it for himself, but I guess he didn't spend enough money to maintain it. As you no doubt well known, I and those vassals who are part of my faction are your loyal subjects. To show our devotion, we have decided to host a grand banquet in Ratanpur to honor your rule. Oh, thank you. A little more regular vassal tax, adding more taxes to, you know, finance the maintenance of our armies. Even though the Nepalese are going to ruin everything there because of my half-wit, half-brother. Again, just saying the term half-wit, half-brother sounds funny. Maybe wrong, but you get the context. When I introduced my friend to Thakur and Kamavati, I had high hopes. Hoped they would become fast friends, so we spent time together. The three of us. We had a great time together. June 2nd, June 3rd, remember. Diplomatic negotiations went very well. Alright, alliance for 5 years. That's what we need. That's just what we need. Okay. Last chance. For an invitation to carousing. A small feast will be fully prepared by October. It's possible we may get it done before he comes over. And when it... Still campaigning to raise an army against me, and is reporting to make good progress. My spouse reports he's accompanied by several large mercenary bands, lured to promise a coin. At this rate, he could be potentially ready to march within 6 months. That's not good. And he's got plenty of money to back that up. But I'm sure he uses that money to, you know, go over his next feasts of every country he visits, with a promise of food and drink. Plus, the man is craven. So of course he would need mercenaries to back him up. I understand. I don't want to know what you did, but it's temporary. Just have to find somebody else. Mother, how about you? Remember, you got till October 1st before we prepare that feast. At least you still love me. If he's gonna have mercenaries, well, so will I. That's why I've not spent anything important. We can exit military commander. No, I have other candidates in mind. And I got my own tail the anklet. I mean, he lost his. And you know, I plan on getting more study books in the future by any means, so... I mean, plus it's an intrigue book. No, learning book, excuse me. Which, again, it's one of my favorite stories to come from India in real life. You know, as a show of goodwill. This may sound like, hey, this is a father and son thing. Hey, since you didn't maintain that book because it wore off, here's one of your favorite stories. You can read it again. Blackmail him. You can read that whenever you pass the time. And mother's coming to the feast. Proficiency gained. Through my combat training, I managed to acquire an important proficiency that will shape my fighting skill for the future. I'm a ruthless commander, apparently, so that further increases the domain size, plus 4 martial and 10 combat skill. Thank you very much. But the training continues. This character has no problem sacrificing his friends to reach his goals. The ruthlessness attracts the most fierce warriors to his cause, thus further increasing the size of that domain for a bit. Just to make damn sure that of that invader who's coming to Mugget to think twice. But now it's time for a feast. One more time. Both of my parents really love me. I'm happy to know that. The laws! I just remembered of what year this is on. Got to empower give it to the Council on Diplomacy Matters. So, war declarations, invasions, asking to join, forming, breaking, forming, dissolution, releasing, offered fealty to foreign realms, granting of independence, and vassalization to foreign realms will be voted on by the Council. And Council members may join a faction when the Council's discontent. No matter trouble, Council members can always join factions, if there are any. So we'll have full support. No other alternatives. Plus we don't have the legalism level for all this. Actually, we do, we just don't have the prestige for it. In preparation for the defense of this country, go for infantry, since most of our military consists of infantry. Well, do that anyways. So that way eventually we'll give it to medium spouse empowerment. Because I believe she can help me more. Last chance to get rid of depression. And once again, no avail. Well, switch to war focus for the time being, because of what we're about to go up against. Oh no. How much plot power does he have? Starts off with 38. Can't do anything about it unless I arrest him, but... and we know who's coming. So it'll be until 853. Next 4 years, we will give it to medium spouse empowerment because... you see? Like 001. We believe we can improve upon it. We needed her to be more capable in such matters. I'll start swaying you now. If only you were a Shaktiist, but there's no rush in having a child. Yet. knowing what we're about to go up against. Will there be invasion or will there be not? Really? Can this be? He backed off. What happened? That doesn't mean anything. Mild headaches. Would there be peace in our time? After years of trying and failing to raise an army large enough to challenge me, he's finally admitted defeat to give up on his quest. He remains in the Thikana of Kalinjara, where he will likely live out the remainder of his life in obscurity. Nice try, Vishwasingha. Coward. Now you can just go home and just be a big eater as much as you'd like. Good riddance. Well, let's hold a Diwali feast, shall we? Jeweled necklace would be perfect. Got me all worked up. But hey, with a war focus in a few years, that also means that I'll pick up a leadership trait soon enough. In preparation of future conflicts. A snake charmer is entertaining the guests at the feast. He plays a flute and sings in odd tones to various poisonous snakes that he has brought in a basket. The audience is captivated by his skills as he seemingly controls the snakes with his voice and music. Fascinating. There was silence among the revelers as the snake charmer works his magic with the snakes, but suddenly I hear a high shriek, and the snake charmer looks confused. It seems a large cobra has broken free and is slithering across the floor towards the guests. Oh no. The escaped cobra disappears under the table. A few moments silence, then a terrified scream. One of the guests is shaken in violent convulsions, with people nearby staring in shock as they realize the snake's bitten their neighbor. The snake disappears out through the open window. The victim stops shaking and lies still dead. Whoa. Well, he was possessed by whoever their evil god is, but he's also infirm. Spoken voices, so good riddance maybe, because, you know, he was a bit of a madman that I didn't know he would spoken voices. I think that Cobra was doing a favor for us. At the feast, it's time for the traditional ceremony of gifts. My target of diplomatic efforts is overjoyed with the magnificent gift. She's fallen in love for me. Excellent. The darkest night of Diwali is here, the most important night of the feast. Candles and lamps are lit everywhere. The guests stroll across the painted and decorated floor, wearing colorful dress. Rich and sweet food is served. The attainment of Nirvana of Lord Mahavira, the last Tirthankar, is celebrated with the victory of good over evil, knowledge over ignorance. Let us celebrate. So what does this mean in the future, now that the feast is over? There's an outbreak of a camp fever. It's not necessarily an outbreak, it's localized. And he's got camp fever, but it's a mild one, so he might live. But I would love to fight him in a subjugation war, as we yet to declare one ourselves. I guess I have to be either a Hindu or Buddhist to do it. That's the reason why I've been saving up that purity. Because living in peace and all that. So religious conversion to either of these two would be a necessity, but if you're willing to sacrifice all that prestige. Or you could save all that prestige and get a much higher crown authority, which would enable us with primogeniture, dynastic elective, protected inheritance, and all that good stuff. There are ways to get more prestige. Again, all these claimant wars. Oh, actually we could fight against the subjugation war against them, but for some reason we're not allowed to fight a subjugation against Buddhists. But I recall Buddhists can subjugate other Buddhists. But not a Jain towards a Buddhist, but a Jain can towards a Hindu, and Hindu, and so on and so forth. Strange. Very strange. And father is going to turn 80 this year as he's become paranoid again, but zealous. Still lives a long life. In fact, the pest control as well, which makes him even more healthier. No wonder why he's been living this long. But I'll tell you what's going to happen in the next episode. This might end a white piece for him, but I could take advantage of this by give a righteous imprisonment to my half-wit, half-brother, as we often say. But I mean, don't want to put a bounty on it to let some member of the Fighters Guild take care of it for me. And we hope in the future that I'll have children, despite the fact that I suffer from depression and infection as well. But living a life of a Digambara Jain, although not in the clergy yet, but it does it well for me. And I keep forgetting that I'm an expert in art calligraphy, and these philosophies have done little favors for me. But we are militarily prepared. It's just our neighbor is very strong. In fact, 10! He has too much. He's gonna need to distribute these lands one of these days. Made a disease taker because now I'm having second thoughts about taking them on. And if I was to fight a subjugation war with somebody else, then would probably have to be with the smaller countries. We're in alliance. What the heck? Oh, I just remembered. Okay, before we get out of here, I just remembered why we can't subjugate him. His culture. You can only subjugate other peoples of your respective culture group. I'm Bengali. We're Indo-Aryan. He's Chinese, so that doesn't count. And that makes him dangerous. And his children aren't Bengali because of where he was educated from. That's why. And yet it's beyond me of why do they tolerate that culture. He hasn't introduced it here. That understands it. Even though that's not part of this area, but I guess we'll have to go down this way, but I don't want to waste the subjugation on them. When our alliance expires between two of us, this is the land I would most likely subjugate. Bengal will have to be for some other time. And we hope that you've enjoyed this episode, ladies and gentlemen, because I got to figure out what to do for future plans for expansion. Especially how to deal with this man. It's only the one who's fourth in line, which I could tell that that man is not Han Chinese. It's this one. I thought of a stupid idea. And I'll tell you what that plan might be in the next episode. But until then, so long for now.